All right, man. How's it going? How have you been?
Good, good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna put some child locks on the seat, so
so you quit
keep
rolling
rolling
around.
around here.
I know they're really rolly, but so I wanted to go ahead and jump on into it. You.
What about the sphere?
So before we came on, we were talking about Las Vegas, and the Sphere, and you had a couple points you wanted to make about that.
Oh yeah, the sphere, dude. I was seeing all about it. They're gonna have a big UFC event there.
Oh, they're gonna do
The
UFC in the Sphere,
Yeah.
or like watching on it?
Have you no inside it? Have you
Okay.
seen the inside of it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's basically just a big screen
Mm-hmm.
all around. It's gonna be crazy. I kind of want to go over there. It just depends. Well, I'm sure you've been to a concert or whatever before.
Yeah.
Obviously you see all the fans and everything. The
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling's black. The walls are, well, it's not black, but it's black because it's dark in there.
Right.
All the walls and everything, but this is like a sphere.
No, it's
It's
breathtaking to be in there. It's truly. When I first saw what they were doing with that, I was all like, I'll be honest, I had my doubts about it, but after I've seen like the some of the shows that they've done in there and the capabilities, it's crazy. It's truly immersing. Like I feel like you could be in there and they could be playing like you're on a roller coaster or it's rolling and you will feel like you're rolling in there.
Well, what's his name? Dana White. He already said he spent 17 million just on the venue and the event and everything.
Oh, of course.
It's for
The
Mexican Independence Day,
the electric bill is out the roof.
but they're competing against Canelo in the T-Mobile Arena. So obviously, Canelo is probably the biggest boxer in the
Yeah.
world. Well, Tyson Fury can give him a run for his money, but Tyson Fury lost, so it's probably Canelo right now. But they're competing just a couple miles from each other
Mm-hmm.
on a Mexican Independence Day. But Dana White's going to throw a big event, and then Canelo's fighting. Personally, I think Canelo's fights they're always boring,
Mm-hmm.
but it's Canelo, so you kind of have to watch.
Is it boring in the way that kind of like Floyd Mayweather is boring, where they're just playing it safe, basically, going for points rather than the show?
It's boring in the sense that if I was watching Mayweather, I'd be rooting for him, but I'd be like, oh well, he's just gonna fight,
Yeah,
and obviously he's gonna win. Same thing with Canelo. He kind of picks what would you call them? Like cans, bad. Well, they're not bad. Obviously, they're world class talent, but compared to him, they're bad.
I gotcha.
So, the biggest highlight of Canelo's career, well, he lost to Floyd Mayweather
Hmm.
when he was really young, but was the fighting Triple G. Those were some pretty good fights, and I mean you could argue they win either way. But Canelo is just one of those, like, you're trying to protect the industry, so you got to take care of him and put him up against weak boxers every once in a while. So he's it's a you watch it, but you're not like, oh my god, I have to watch this.
Right, right. But it definitely sells the pay-per-views.
But yeah, just off of Canelo's name.
Yeah.
He only fights twice a year, so it's kind of, well, let's just tune in and watch him. But I wouldn't buy a pay per view. I'll go somewhere and watch it, but I wouldn't be with UFC. I'll buy a pay per view if it's a good card.
Hmm. How'd you feel
Because
about the most recent card they just did?
um, not my not the favorite, I guess you could say.
I know
Mm.
I saw an interview. Dana White didn't seem too pleased because it was just
But I don't like the main event. I'm not a person, when I want to watch a fight, I want to watch a fight.
right.
And there's a difference obviously between boxing and UFC or MMA just in general.
Hmm.
When I want to watch a fight, I want to watch one. Sometimes boxing matches, they'll be crazy. Everybody's punching each other. It's a good event. Other times it's just boring. Same thing with MMA. I with MMA, what I don't like is the too much wrestling.
Hmm.
Like, for instance, what's his name? Khabib. The dude's a boring fighter. People are like, oh, well, he's the greatest of all time in his weight division. but just a boring fight. I don't want to see somebody grab and they're laying on top of each other, just like wrestling or oh, let me choke you out. I
Right.
want to see somebody stand up and let's see some punches, let's see some blood.
Yeah.
And that's how. Well, this fight, I think the dude, it was a basically a wrestler, Bilal Muhammad against Leon Edwards, who he's a striker, and the Leon Edwards got taken down. I think it was 9 times in the fight,
Oh wow.
and there were moments for both the fighters, but it was just a headache to watch because, dude, I don't want to watch you. Oh, let me take you down again. Let me lay on top of you and not really do. If you're gonna take a dude down, you better just choke him out and get it over with.
Yeah.
Don't just grab somebody, lay on top of them. This. Oh well, I controlled you on the ground. Well, you guys are both laying on the ground for 4 minutes of the round, 3 minutes of the round. That's not even fun. I want to see somebody come out. Let's get some fist flying.
Yeah.
Let's see how it see how you guys actually fight instead of like just laying on top of each other. Like it looks just kind of looks gay. Like, but I mean, if you're in the street and you get in a fight, obviously there's not all the MMA rules. I look at MMA; it's supposed to be the closest thing to a street fight,
Right.
and it should be, hey, you know what? I'm gonna throw some punches and elbows and all kinds of stuff to either get you off me or put you down when I'm on top of you. I'm gonna figure out how to break your arm, but just to subdue you if it's a street fight. But it was just a kind of a boring fight, and I mean, I understand they're fighting for the title and all that stuff, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
They just made the recommendation to allow 12 to 6 elbows, which is pretty cool. That'll be nice.
So you have to count the amount of elbows that you do?
No, 12 to 6. So if you had a clock right here on the wall, 12's
Mm-hmm.
at the top, 6 is at the bottom. It's illegal to come down like this on somebody.
Okay.
You can go from the side like that. Um, but if you got somebody on the ground, then you could just 12 to 6 elbow
Oh,
them now. So, well, it's not approved yet. It has to go through all like the state athletic commissions. Um, but they're pushing. It looks like that's gonna be legal again, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah. I mean, I think you bring up an interesting point that, MMA, it's the closest to a street fight that you're going to get, in an exhibition style because, you've been in fights, I've been in fights, and the one thing that is, with a street fight, it's going to go to the ground. A lot of people think like, oh, it's striking, but a fight where it's just purely you and someone else, you're going to end up on the ground, and that's why weight is the biggest advantage there. Never fight anybody who weighs more than you because you're going to end up on the ground, and they're going to have that advantage. And just fighting in general, unless it's in a professional setting, I mean, the best thing you could do is just get away from it.
yeah,
That's why, I've learned my lessons, and I'm the biggest de-escalator that I could be. My pride isn't worth that to me.
especially nowadays, you can't get in a fight and somebody doesn't call the cops. Everybody calls cops nowadays, and
Hmm.
then you're in jail for assault or whatever. Me with The reason I stopped fighting is obvious. Like I used to get in a lot of fights growing up, through high school and everything, and eventually it just turned into like everybody. I don't know. Everybody kind of outgrew me,
Hmm.
and then everybody weighs more than me. So I'll still get into something here and there, but it's like, man, this dude's a lot bigger than me. He's got like 50 pounds on me. Like, phew, do I really want to go down that road? He's probably gonna whoop my ass. I'm just more of a de-escalator. I'm like, shoot, I don't really want to get into anything with anybody, but
And there's so
if I have
many.
to, it's I don't care if I go out on my shield, then I go out.
Mhm.
It's
But I mean, there's just besides the weight factor, there's so many other factors that go into it. I mean, how many times have, you fall down and it's not a controlled environment. You tap your head on something and then that's it. That's that's how you went out.
the only thing that's tough is like the what's it called? Having a girlfriend.
Hmm.
Because if somebody says something or does something dumb, then you have to defend. Like I
Yeah.
don't care about me. I'll de-escalate. I'll be like, hey, whatever, dude. I don't care. I'm out. I'm not gonna fuck with you, even though you're trying to fuck with me. I'm like, hey, it's cool. But if you have a girlfriend, then like
It
it's
changes, yeah.
if somebody says something to her, now I have to step up. I can't be like, oh yeah, well, I forget who it was, but they're they're talking to one of my buddies like, hey, well, if if a dude came up and smacked a girl, on the butt, what would you do? And if they said something to your girl, it's like, oh, same thing I would do for you. I'm gonna fire off. Like, just I got to take care of you too.
Hmm.
Like, so it's that kind of thing. You kind of have to just on general principle.
It's
Just
crazy. It's crazy how that is because yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong, but it reminds me of a quote, and I cannot remember who said this. Maybe someone could put it in the comments or something. But there's a quote that said, "A man is will forgive someone killing his father, then he'll forgive that before he'll forgive being slighted by someone in front of his woman." That's like, and it's crazy the psychology behind that. It's it definitely unlocks something visceral inside of you. It's not something that you could just like
But
let go.
me getting slighted in front of my woman, that's not a big deal for me.
But that
Yeah.
same kind
But
of,
if somebody slights
yeah,
my woman,
yeah.
that's a completely different thing. If somebody makes a dumb comment or something, some stupid stuff in front of like to my girl, for me, it's if they do that, I'm like whatever. I'll just defuse the situation. I'm decent at defusing, not the greatest, but um, like for instance, I was in Santa Barbara and this dude was I was in a house talking to somebody, and this dude was outside, like running his mouth off to my girlfriend, like an old guy, like 50, 60 years old, something like that.
Hmm.
And she was outside the car, like, can you please unlock the car? I was like, well, what's going on? Like, she texts me, well, what's going on? And I go outside, and I was finishing up in the house, but I go outside, like, what's going on? And she's like almost in tears, like teary eyed and everything. And she told me what happened. Some dude tripped on her, like, "Oh, well, what are you doing here? All this stuff."
Hmm.
When she just out there chilling, waiting for me. And so we get in the car, and she told me, and is that him right there? And he's standing out there on the curb, and I'm just like, hey, well, it's like, hey, what's up, dude? And I'm walking over to him. It's like a half a block down.
Hmm.
He's like, hey, don't come over here, don't come over here. I was like, hey, what? I mean, what's going on, man? Like, hey, I tried to be cordial and everything, and he's just like, oh well, I've had a bunch of robberies at my house and all this stuff, and you guys are over here working. Like, obviously he didn't say working, but so you're over here doing all this stuff, knocking on doors, and I was like, "What? We're working right now. Have you ever in your life seen a robber go up to a house in a dress shirt, a tie, slacks, and some dress shoes
Right.
and rob a house? Like, what's wrong with you?" And he's, well, she knocked my door and everything, and I was like, dude, we're out here working. Like, you're gonna be over here yelling at a little girl? Like, obviously she's like in her 20s, but she's she's small.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, are you gonna be yelling at this little girl right here? What's wrong with you, man? He's like, oh, well, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, dude, we're out here working. And then finally, I just snapped. I was like, hey, dude, because he was getting all aggressive and everything. It's like, hey, I'll fuck you up right now, dude. I'll whoop your ass. I'm gonna beat the brakes off of you. I'm not gonna sit here and have you running your mouth. I mean, step out to the street. Let's see what's happening.
Hmm.
If you want to be over here just running your mouth and talking crap about my girl, it's like, nah, nah, that's not flying. I mean, of course, the bad thing is he's like 50 years old. So if I beat him up, it's like I beat up an old man.
Right.
But then if he beats me up, it's like, oh, you got beat up by an old man. But it's like, come on, dude. What are you out here running around up and down the street talking a bunch of trash, and
Yeah.
then especially picking on a girl at that age? Like it's just that's kind of ridiculous. You gotta like, it's like you never grew up. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit there and, oh, somebody's out here selling chocolates. a little 10-year-old selling chocolates. Hey, what are you doing, kid? Like, why would I do that? Like,
I feel like every neighborhood has at least one person like that where it's just no common sense. They definitely, like what you said, they didn't grow up and they have that almost like, I'm sure there were times when, at the playground as kids, you try to claim the toy set is yours, you try to kick the other kids off. It's that kind of mentality, exactly like you said. It's very infantile, what made them to be like that?
well, I just think it's nobody ever put you in your place. Like
No one ever checked them, yeah.
yeah, I've
It's a
been
bully mentality, yeah.
I've been in situations where it's like, hey, you know what? I've learned my lessons. I've been in fights. I haven't won all of them. I kind of understand, what to get into, what not to get into.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, I'm not the biggest guy since I'm skinny. My knuckles are sharp, but that's about it. But it's like, hey, I know how to respect people. I was raised right. But if you've just been raised all your life just entitled, had everything handed to you, then you just think you can get away with everything. You just run your mouth all the time. That's where Karens come from.
Yeah.
Because they've never been slapped before. Like, I see all these videos. Like, oh, how do I all the body cam videos? I've been watching those. How do you can't arrest me, no? And they're screaming and trying to fight, and
Hmm.
they don't want to be put in cuffs. It's like, what if I get arrested? It's like, well, I did something wrong here. I'm just not gonna fight or anything, and the cops like you more for that. But these
And
these kind of people is like, hey, you never been hit before in your life to where you just think you get away with everything.
yeah. And I mean, even to that point, as far as like, I'm not gonna fight a cop. You know, what a lot of people I feel they don't understand is like the time to fight. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, and you're getting arrested. The time to prove that point is not with the cop because the cop is just there to enforce the law. He's not going to try to decipher it. If he's a has common sense, he's a decent kind of guy, then he's going to come at the situation to a point where it wouldn't even get to that if it doesn't need to. But the majority of the time, when you have an officer shows up and they make that decision, just the time to argue your point is in the courthouse, and because there's no way you're gonna overcome that officer. The what people don't understand is that violence is the ultimate form of authority from which all other forms of authority are derived, and the state has a monopoly on violence. So you could be right 1,000 times over, but you'll end up dying if you take it too far.
I was watching this video. It was like 30 or 40 minutes long. But these two girls, they show up to a concert on a college campus, and they go to college there and everything. They have their tickets, but they're just completely slammered,
Hmm.
like just wasted. And they're like, oh well, can we get in? Oh no, but we have tickets. Just not even listening to the cops. And so the cops are like, hey, well you have to go. And I think they went to a supermarket or something, for some water. And then they came back. Oh, we're sober now. We drank a bunch of water, but obviously wasted.
Hmm.
And then they went to another spot across the street, and they ate some food and drank some more water, and then came back, and the cops were like, "Hey, we told you twice. We gave you a warning once. We gave you a warning again. We said if you come back, you're gonna get arrested." And like, why are we getting arrested and all this stuff? And got put in cuffs, all that, and then they got arrested and charged with like a few counts each.
Hmm.
And with that was like, come on, like you got told to leave, and you come back, you get told to leave again, you come back, and then you finally get arrested. It's like, have you never faced any consequences in your life?
Yeah.
Especially, you could have got a public intoxication right there, but they gave him a couple chances, and I mean that's how a lot of people are. Is if a cop walks up to me and says, "Hey, you got to go," all right, yes, sir. I'm out of here. I'm getting
Done.
away as soon as possible because I know the only thing that's gonna happen is bad after that. You're
Exactly.
gonna get arrested, go to jail. You're just gonna deal with a lot of stuff. If the cop says, "Hey, you know what? I mean, just go." It's like, all right, yes, sir. I'll be right out of your way. I don't want any problems.
Yeah, dude, that reminds me. So there's this story. When I was 19, I was out with a couple of people, and I was the one. I had the car, so I was driving them. So we were over there. You know the where Woodstone and VIP is right there, that parking place right there. So we're right there, and uh, I'm obviously 19, so I can't go in. But two of the other people, they're also underage, but one person was, and he was trying to holler at a girl or something that was in one of those things. So we pulled up. He gets out and he's all like, "Hey guys, be careful because the cops roll through here." So I was like, "Okay." In my mind, I'm just like, you know, that stuff happens to other people. That stuff's not actually going to happen. It could, but it's not actually. So we actually had a couple tall cans. So we're chilling and we just have the 3 pack of tall cans on the trunk of the car. We're chilling and out of nowhere, dude, Crown Victoria pulls up next to us. Boom, flashlights on our faces and everything. And I had seen him come in a little bit, so I had actually like grabbed all the beer. I put it in like the back seat, but they saw the whole thing. So we're all standing there and they're like, "What are you guys doing here?" And the officer goes and he looks in the back of the car, he sees the beer and stuff. He's like, "How old are you guys?" Da 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 da. And I'm just like scared straight, I'm just like, fuck, I am so screwed right now. So I got my hands in my pockets. He's like, "Take your hands out of your pockets." And I'm just like being super compliant. Just like every command is just like boom, boom, boom. And so they weren't happy, but he was all like, "All right, I forgot exactly how he worded it, but he was like, "Get out of here and go home." And I was like, "Say less." So hopped in the car and took off. I didn't go home, but definitely that was a scary moment right there, just getting rolled up on because that could have went all kinds of bad. Being 19. But I think what played into it was when you check the back seat. I had a car seat in the back there because the girl I was with at the time had kids. So seeing that car seat, he's probably like, "Oh, this guy's a dad." It's just kind of like, I think that weighed a little bit in that decision.
Yeah, it's no joke. A lot of times it'll almost kill your life as far as careers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
If you get locked up, all of a sudden imagine if you're working a 9 to 5, you don't show up the next day, nobody, no call, no show, boom, done. You get fired real quick unless you're a, a stud at your job.
yeah. So, you have a sales background, working the doors. So to me, I have a lot of respect for that because that is, in my opinion, one of the toughest gigs in the sales universe. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to hear probably what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you being out there knocking the doors, and then we'll segue into something else after that.
Oh, one time I don't know if it's the craziest, but I went in a house when I was new, and I'm in there, and I'm showing the Kirby, and then I didn't really have a lot of attention because I was new. You don't really know how to keep it attention,
Hmm.
and I believe I was shampooing or cleaning, and I kept hearing like a laugh, and I was like, what is going on? Like, and I look in there, it's just the kitchen's like a shotgun kitchen where it's just all the way
Yeah,
through,
yeah, yeah.
and then there's a laundry room back there. It's like, what is going on? And I heard the laugh again. I'm looking, like I don't see anything, and so I keep doing what I was doing, and then I heard it one more time. And I look, and I even leaned down, and under it they had like a table probably half the size against the wall because
Hmm.
it's a thin kitchen. And I looked, and there was like a old lady in like white nightgown with white hair, just staring at me and like smiling.
What?
And I was like, what is going on here? It's like,
What?
it's like I gotta get out of here. This is
What
like
were
I felt like I was in the Hills Have Eyes or something crazy.
right?
Like it's
Who were the people that you were showing the vacuum to? Were they kind of like, did you get an explanation or
no,
were they younger? Or?
I was just I don't know, like good old Okie white folk. So it's like I gotta get out of here. This is too much. It was
Dude,
weird, and I was
what?
new. I was really young. I'm still
Yeah.
young, but like, whoa, this is some crazy stuff right here.
Yeah, dude. Wow. That leaves me kind of speechless. Like, so, and I'm sorry, I just gotta ask again. So, did you get clarification that she was an actual real person, or if it was like an entity or something?
I don't know. She looked real enough, like a old lady with like, I don't know. Just it was really
Just,
off-putting.
yeah, unnerving,
So,
of
yeah.
course.
So I wasn't asking any questions. I was like, you know what? I
It's time to
gotta
go.
yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Wow.
I felt like they were gonna kidnap me or something, or I don't know. Some creepy stuff.
Dang. So, you've been doing this for almost a better half of a decade. So you were doing this like during COVID and everything. Um, what was the biggest change you saw? Obviously, going door to door, you're having to work in people's houses, and during that time, people are definitely a lot more sketched out. They're kind of more apprehensive. How did that impact you, and what was your biggest takeaway from that time period?
Oh well, during COVID, I took some time off just because it's kind of got weird.
Hmm.
Um, but if you're asking the craziest change since I've started
Yeah.
would be the Ring doorbells. That's completely different because it used to be just doorbells.
Hmm.
You hit them, people have to answer the door. I mean, they could look through the people,
Right.
but now with the Ring cameras, Vivint, all these different companies, ADT, now you could just pull it up on your phone and look.
Hmm.
You'd be sitting on the couch and like, I don't want to answer that. I
Right.
don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of weird factor. Then even the different apps they have. Like Ring Camera has an app. There's even neighborhood apps that you can get. Those are like, oh well, what's going on? And oh well, there's a salespeople in the neighborhood, something like that.
True. Yeah.
And or oh, this guy knocked my door, and so it changes up the dynamic because then the the um, the what would you call them, the busy people in the neighborhood, they now they're looking, oh well, they're salespeople, I'm not even answering my door. Whereas if I can actually talk to you face to face, be like, hey, how's it going, they'll be most of them will be cool, like, oh well, no, or yeah, actually we do have this area we need, as opposed to, oh, I'm not even answering the door, let me swipe that off.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different dynamic. That's why I like new houses. They're they're just a better market because when you have everything's new, you want to take care of what you have. So
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of the people are like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we do want to take care of it. You get there's like two different kinds of people. There's people from down south that are like, oh well, oh no problem. I'll just keep it. And then there's people from here. They're like, oh wow, we can barely afford the house. So it's I always ask them like, hey, well, where are you guys from? Like, oh well, this house is I got a better shot in this one than that one. So
Yeah, you start kind of identifying those key factors of what's going to be more likely to be a sale and what's more likely to just kind of be a waste of time.
yeah, it's there's a lot that goes into it. But
Right on. What's one piece of advice you'd give to anyone, you know, something that you'd tell someone that you didn't know going into this?
a piece of advice as far as what?
Just someone, basically someone who
Just
wanted to get into knocking doors. Then and they're just like, you know what, I think I might want to do this. Is there any one piece of advice you'd give that person that would help them out in advancement in that career?
well, you just have to stay for a while. Actually, actually, actually learn and don't get mad when people are mean to you.
Hmm. Don't take it personal.
Because if you don't know how to engage somebody in conversation, you're like, hey, well, hey, sir, we're doing this work. 99 out of 100 times, you're probably going to get the door slammed in your face unless you find somebody that's just nice. Like, oh, well, I'll just help you out.
Yeah.
It's hot outside or it's cold outside. I'll just help you out. But a lot of times, what happens is people have bills or whatever, and they come in, and you're not going to learn everything right away.
Hmm.
You got to sit there and kind of learn gradually because you have to learn how to sell before you can sell.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to take it slow, learn, and obviously, if you have kids, a wife at home that doesn't work, and and a mortgage and all this stuff, it's probably not going to work out for you just because you're not going to make that much in the beginning.
Right.
Once you learn what you're doing, then you're going to make a as much money as you want. Just depends on how hard you work.
Makes sense. And that's what I've noticed, like in my brief tenure doing door to door as well as like in car sales, is it takes time and tenure to kind of build up clientele and really, like you said, understand what you're doing and how to leverage it to your advantage for sure. So yeah, this is some really great advice. I'm sure I'm thankful for that. I'm sure some other people will be thankful for it. So we're at that point. We're gonna go ahead and do the real review. So, for those of you who don't know, this is the point in the show. You guys send in random reels to us. You can send those in at the Law of Average Joe's podcast on Instagram. I will randomly review them and pick a couple to throw up and have our guests react to them. So, I've got a couple here. We're going to go ahead and throw these up and see what happens.
I genuinely do not. You can hear my computer friend. Ignore that. But I do not know. You know,
So,
It's
that,
kind of brutal.
all right, we got the next one here.
That's that's some real stuff right there, though. That's how I feel sometimes. I go through this a lot where it's like, oh, I'm not hungry,
Uh huh.
and then I always, for instance, the other day, I went to this place and I got myself eggs and all this stuff, and a chicken fried steak,
Yeah,
and then I order a a burger, bacon avocado burger, which is really good
of course.
because my girl's with me. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna eat this, and you eat that. And today, or not today, it was a couple days ago, she just wasn't hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And that burger just sat there. But the other day when I ordered just myself some food because oh, I'm not hungry, all of a sudden my food's getting eaten. Just like that little guy, they took his food. It's like, dude, I don't know how to win. If I order extra food, it just goes to waste because
Right.
I can't eat it all. But if I don't order enough food, if I just like, I'm just gonna get a burger from us, all of a sudden half of it's eaten.
Yeah.
Like I'm still hungry. Like man, women are complicated with that. It's hard to translate what they want, what they don't want.
Yeah,
It's,
definitely a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation there. We got one more to throw up here.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he thinks he can entice Kobe Bryant.
When I seen that, I was like, oh, I've seen this before, and then it took a complete left turn on me there.
that that video, the original one. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Where he takes the ball, and he just goes like that, and Kobe doesn't flinch or
Yeah.
anything. I just imagine as the helicopter goes down, Kobe's just like doesn't even flinch and just hits the ground. His eyes were probably still open when he was on the ground, just like
Just
I got the Mamba mentality.
Mamba till the end. Different animal, but the same beast. But yeah, actually, uh, going back into what you're saying about the food situation, I'm sure you've been in this situation too, where they're like, you're like, oh, what sounds good, and they never
I
know.
don't know.
They never
I don't
know.
know.
So I used this trick a couple times, and it works the majority of the time. But what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, I have a place in mind. Try to guess the place that I'm thinking of that we're gonna go eat at. Okay, this is where we're gonna go eat. All right, just it's in my brain. And then from there, she'll be like, and then the first answer she spits out, boom, that's where we're going. I don't even know where we're going, but that's kind of a way you can kind of force out an answer from them, and then boom. And if they put that answer out there, then that's what they're wanting to eat anyways. So that's a win-win.
See, I'll probably, if I already do that, I'd be like, you want Jack in the Box, don't you?
Just straight ask a leading question. Jack in the Box, right? Right?
No, she'll, if I were to ask her that question, be like, I know you want Jack in the Box. Let's go there. Why I eat Jack in the Box all the time. It's
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't eaten fast food except for In and Out, probably going on maybe 6 months now. I used to eat McDonald's a lot, but then once the prices went up, it was like insane. Like I could go to Chili's and
yeah, yeah.
eat better quality food for the same cost to going to McDonald's. So for me, it was a no-brainer, and
Well,
that was a
everybody's coming out with $5 meals. McDonald's has you get a McChicken, 4 nuggets, a fry, and a drink for like $5. Like, well, I guess I'll get that because I mean I can't really stop at restaurants. I just go if I'm working. I'm hey, let me grab something really quick because I have an appointment or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
I think what I think it is these companies are never gonna sell you something at a loss. You know what I mean? And I think what happened was whether or not there was truly that big of a shortage issue during COVID, that was a unique scenario where it allowed them to drive up those prices. And now that everything's back to normal, those prices haven't come down. And I don't think it's because the product still costs that much. I think it's because they were able to get up to that price point, and now it's just pure profit. Now that all the supply chain issues are
no,
resolved and stuff,
it's from the beginning of the year the $20 minimum wage for fast food workers. That's the main thing that drives it up.
mhm.
Even like there's a Carl's Jr. you can go to that has an AI ordering system now because they're letting people go. Everybody was fighting for, oh, we want $20, $20. All of a sudden, as soon as it goes up to that, it's well, I can't afford to pay all these employees. They're not getting overtime anymore. It's kind of biting them in the back because just the owners are like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to make my money. Obviously, the owners make a lot of money, but they're not going to operate at a at break even or just they don't even want to make just a little more. They want to make some money. So like,
Yeah.
hey, well, let me figure out how to get rid of people because the wages went up and but,
Well, I saw a video where it was just a parking lot full of Amazon employees, and they were just hugging each other and crying and stuff. And the caption is like, Amazon just laid off all these people because they just converted the entire warehouse into robots. And then you see the footage of it working. I was all like, wow. No,
but
robots can't unionize, right?
you have to find like a medium between it all. I thought $15 an hour minimum wage. I was like, hey, well, at least they're making a decent wage. But to me, with fast food, these different jobs, it's not meant to be your career. You're not supposed to be there 20, 30 years
Right.
working there. I always thought, hey, well, you take this job when you're in high school, you work a couple years there. Then if you go to college, you work a little bit more while you're working towards your actual career. You want to be a nurse, teacher, doctor, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You work towards that. But I mean, people are now it's like, oh well, I could get paid this much at fast food. I just want to go work there. It's like, hey, well, let everybody. Like, I have a buddy that his kid doesn't really work or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's where he should be working because it's high paced, it's fast. You're gonna learn how to work, and then you can relax later when you get one of these. You're sitting at a desk or whatever, working in the corporate world, or you have your own business. You're working with your people.
Yeah.
But I just never understood trying to make fast food a career.
I worked at Denny's for 1 month. And that's my first and last place I ever worked in the food industry. And that was enough for me. And not even like fast food. I mean, Denny's is kind of like fast food, but I just like you're saying, from an economic standpoint, it shouldn't be a career. But for me, I can't imagine wanting to work fast food. Like if I was working fast food just to make ends meet, I'd be making plays and setting things up to get out of there. That I would definitely not be trying to just it does you could be paying me $30 an hour and that environment is just so uh I couldn't do it. I absolutely I refuse to do it.
If you're gonna be a server, you should be in a popular spot, like let's say Las Vegas.
Hmm.
You could be in a popular spot like that working at the pool. You're gonna be pulling in hundreds of dollars a day,
Yeah.
if not thousands, just because everybody's throwing money around out there. But I mean, if you're a server at Denny's, or, something like that, you can make your money, but I mean, it's not gonna be like, oh wow, I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've seen these guys at the pools in Vegas, the servers. I've seen people, oh, here's $100, here's a tip for for bringing me a couple drinks or whatever. I'm like, man, that's a nice tip. But these guys pulling a lot of money in different tourist spots. But well, even I guess bartenders too, they make a lot of money
Hmm.
just because you're at the bar. You got a bunch of drunk people all around, and they're just giving you tips and everything.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I had a quick question. What was that $20? It went up to $20 an hour for fast food workers. Was that federal or just statewide?
that's state.
So that's just state. Okay, so
Yeah.
I want to look up a couple things here. Because I had an interesting point on it. Uh, so let's just say Texas, for example. Texas state minimum wage. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So employers in Texas must comply with the state's minimum wage law, which is currently 7.25 per hour. This means that employers must pay their non-exempt employees at least 7.25 per hour. Obviously, tipped employees must receive at least $2.13 per hour in cash wages plus tips. Now, um, that's something that it's like tipping culture in America. It's like that's something that's actually very unique to the United States. If you go to other countries and stuff, they don't tip. In Japan, it's actually considered rude to tip because the employees they feel like they're very well compensated, so they don't need that additional support. But I bring this up because uh, California, I think a lot of people have a problem with the policies in the state, but I truly do think that they do try to do the best for people and helping them out and making sure that they do get paid a livable wage. $2.13 per hour isn't a livable wage. You know what I mean? And so when I started, because I've been in California my whole life, I don't really know how other states work, but when I started looking into this, what I realized is this. So basically, if a company is hiring you and you can receive tips, then if they can legally pay you $2.13 per hour, guess what? That's what you're getting paid. Unless this company is non-corporate, it has some kind of moral epiphany, it's actually doing the right thing. But and then basically, so they're saving all that money on payroll, and that's going into the owner or into the profit. That's you know, and then what's happening is that you, the customer, are now subsidizing the employer from not paying their employees a fair wage. Like I think that the only reason tipping is so prevalent is in California. I don't think we should tip in California. I think it's just a cultural thing because we're in the United States. But I think in California, people are paid a livable wage that we don't really need tips. But anybody who receives tips, they'd hate to hear that. But in other states, I get why there's tipping because they're getting paid pennies, And so I think that really that change should be on a federal level, because employers, I feel like they shouldn't be able to get away with paying their employees like that.
So with that with tipping, I feel like it's a requirement.
Yeah.
That's the way it feels. Just because if you don't tip somebody and you go back the next time, they're not going to be good to you. But if you
Hmm.
tip them more, you're going to get the best service in the world.
Right.
So it's like now it kind of is a requirement
But
just to.
that's as a in the service industry though, that's your job. Like, tips aren't guaranteed, they're not promised. I mean, and I feel like if you're getting paid to do a job, then you should be getting just paid for that job. To expect tips on top of it and for there to be a disparity in the treatment that you dish out to people based on the tips you receive, you know, I I don't fault people just because it's the culture at this point. It's expected. It just is how it is. But from a purely objective standpoint, I think that there's definitely some work to be done in that realm.
Even with the 7.25 per hour, I think just ten per hour,
At least.
like just 10. Um, and then, like I said, hire young kids, and if somebody sticks around long enough, their management they get paid a lot more because they're
Hmm.
managing a bunch of kids. Um, and the kids, it should be, hey, well, you better not make this your career.
Yeah.
You better be going to school and everything. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's everything's kind of ridiculous right now with pay. But I guarantee you, right now, there's not a lot of people making a career out of this out of fast food at 70.25 an hour or 7.25 an hour in Texas.
So on the flip side of that, though, in Texas, stuff is generally cheaper. Did you know they have 3 liter bottles of soda in Texas? Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah, I was blown away when I seen this, but yeah, look, it's the 3 liter. I've never seen this in California, but this is something that's over in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Absolutely, it's crazy. I think Texas is a great state. I thought about moving there, but ultimately it didn't happen. So I know you go to Vegas quite a bit. You know, you're a
I haven't been
frequenter.
there in a while.
But I mean, you've been a decent amount of times. When COVID came up, I know you got a chance to be out there. Can you describe how Vegas was during COVID?
I have like a 19-minute video just driving up and down the strip with absolutely no one there. It's right when it went into lockdown. We
Yeah.
just came back from Colorado and just driving and looking. It looked like what was that movie? I forget what it's called, but with the movie with all the zombies in Las Vegas.
Oh man. Was it Double Tap, or was it like a
It
serious one or a comedy movie?
was a serious one. I can't even think of who
There's so many
the
different
actors
ones.
were, but it was like, well, obviously not with all the destruction or anything or the zombies, but it's like just looking through, like walking through a casino and it's all quiet or whatever. I didn't go inside of any of the casinos, obviously, because they were all closed, but
Yeah.
just completely empty. I was like, man, this might be the end of the world at this point with COVID.
I mean, it certainly felt that way, but I don't know, man. So I was actually one of the very first people in the office I was working in. As soon as like I heard just an inkling of stuff, I was wearing a mask, like boom, and everyone else was like, making fun of me and like, why is he wearing a mask? I was making people uncomfortable by doing that, and then within like the next 3 months after that, boom, that's when everything kicked in. Everyone's wearing masks, and then that's where I kind of was like, the more data you get, the more you can make kind of like an educated decision, and without any of that data initially happening, that's where I was all like, I'm taking every step to protect myself and do everything I can. And then once I kind of saw more and more of how it actually was and everything, and I actually got it myself, it definitely took me out for a day, but um, I think it was a little overblown, and it's better safe than sorry. So I don't really fault it too much, but I definitely think the reaction to it hung on for longer than it should have. I think we took some appropriate steps and then tried to make the new normal. And I'm thankful now that we're all kind of somewhat back to how it was before. I wish the prices were pre-COVID, but
It was COVID was fun. I obviously, I mean, everybody's sick and all that stuff, but I'm young. Was pretty healthy, so I wasn't too worried about it. But you're just hanging out. All of a sudden, you don't have to work. You're just chilling out.
hmm
It's like, man, this is not too bad. And it's like almost like, man, I kind of hope this goes on a little longer. It's like we were just having fun all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy time. You know what I've been watching lately?
Well.
The as my taste in video games has developed and everything, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like I'll watch videos. I watched these there's like a few different guys that I watch that play video games. They have a thing. So right, you've played Grand Theft Auto,
Right, yeah.
and it's just Grand Theft Auto 5. Actually, if you go on the PC, they have it's called 5M, but they have a bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah.
servers
Mm-hmm.
and they have everything on there. And I watch a few of these guys because it's role play,
Mm-hmm.
but they're serious role players, and then there's like just kind of I don't know trolling.
Yeah.
They just go mess with people,
Exactly, yeah.
and I just watch those. And they get banned and everything. I was like, man, I kind of want to get a PC and do that, just mess with people. I've seen these guys who just go poke at people and just mess with them. Because there's people that take it way too serious.
Yeah.
It's like real life. Dude, take a chill pill. What's wrong? But yeah, it's pretty fun to watch.
Can you believe that game came out in 2013? I was just replaying Grand Theft Auto, just like the vanilla on my PS5, and I was like, dude, when did this game come out? Because it just looks so good still. You know, it's still such it's really withstood that test of time, and it's just amazing to me that 2013 is when that came out. I was thinking like 15, 16, but no, 13.
They always update it. So, but there's coming out GTA 6. It's gonna be in Miami.
Okay.
That's gonna be a. I'll probably have to buy that. Yeah.
I heard they were flirting with the idea of another Red Dead Redemption.
Not until GTA 6 is done,
Oh, of
and then
course,
it's
yeah.
still up in the air. But we'll see how that turns out. Well, they kind of gave up on Red Dead Redemption 2 as far as
Oh, really, the
updates and all that
support?
kind of stuff.
Wait, you know what? You know where that really went downhill was when they did that whole thing to try to stop the griefing, you know, where you can't see where other players are on the map and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. Yeah, that killed it. I pretty much just stopped playing it after that.
Well, you would ride around the map and you couldn't even find anybody.
Yeah,
It's
terrible.
crazy.
That was a such a poor decision on their part. Like what I don't understand why they even made that decision in the first place. Like Grand Theft Auto, they didn't do that, so why would they do it on this game? I don't, yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming out. Oh, the what I'm really looking forward to is actually what's it called? The new Call of Duty,
Okay.
because
Oh,
it's
the
finally
yeah,
something new.
it's gonna be the Gulf War, right?
Yeah, the Gulf War. Finally a new conflict because they're remaking all these games and giving different perspectives on them and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But act like Cold War, I mean, the Gulf War, it actually it's a new conflict, something actually that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. I remember these past few campaigns haven't been fun, been kind of lame.
I think it was cool to see them kind of like put a more realistic spin on the original Modern Warfare trilogy, but at the same time, these are games, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't meant to be taken that seriously, you know? Um, but
I was
I'm excited myself as well.
I was so mad because I last season they dropped the BAL 27 from Advanced Warfare.
Hmm.
I was mad about that because it didn't shoot anything like it did in Advanced Warfare. I was like, oh man, you guys just messed the gun up.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll see how these games turn out.
Are there any besides that one, any other games that you're excited about or anything?
Um, Not really. It's kind of the market's kind of dry, I
Yeah.
guess. I just go to PlayStation Plus and I play the games off of there.
Hmm.
They have Borderlands out right now, these different games.
And that is really cool. I think that service is excellent. You know, having access to all the games for just a cheap monthly payment is pretty good. I'm actually subscribed to a couple of them. I think like the Ubisoft and then the EA. The value for what you're paying is just insane. You know, you're getting these titles that they came out 60, $70, and now you have access to all of them for, you know, depending how often or how much you spend on the subscription over time, you know. But short term, you know, because I don't think I'm gonna play video games forever, you know. You know, it's I'm definitely kind of I don't play as much as I did when I was a kid, certainly. So, um, but you know, it's something nice you could do to kill the time for right now, for sure.
How it always happens. If if I have a girlfriend, I'm playing way less.
Hmm.
And as soon as it's like, hey, well, I'm just gonna play video games. If I break up or whatever, it's like, hey, well, back to the video games.
Right.
So I don't like really going out or anything.
Yeah.
People want to go out and party all this stuff. I'm like, shoot, I'd rather just chill at home, relax, or go to somebody's house, hang out a little bit. But I don't like all the. That's why I don't like. I don't understand why people want to go to clubs all the time. It's
Hmm.
like so loud. There's so many people.
Yeah.
Just you hear boom, boom, boom. Hey, I don't want to be here. I don't want to get a headache right now. I'd rather.
Exactly.
I'd rather just chill out, have a nice, quiet time at my house. It's like in Vegas, everybody, oh, let's go to the club. Or I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go sit on a slot machine, relax, hang out. This is what I want to do. I'm not doing what you guys want to do.
At least with
Sorry.
the slot machine, you have a chance of getting some money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, man. I appreciate you doing the show with me. Look forward to having you on again in the future. And yeah, let's keep on doing what we're doing and making this life work.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me.